Hello guys, G4Gamers here. Wanted to do a video on how you can solo the Thermia Fracture event using Nidus. So if you have not yet figured out what is going on, I hope this video can be of some help. This event takes place in the open world of Venus or Ballast, where you're going to be sealing up these fractures that spawn. They using some canisters. They also yield a refined thermia, which you will need in order to start a mission. Um, so for this build, I'm going to be using a long range, some efficiency using fleeting expertise in order to reduce your duration. Fleeting expertise actually decreases your duration, so you're going to need it just so you can spawn your 2. But however, your 2 doesn't pull all enemies, so I'm going to be using a Rubico or a sniper to shoot down those heavier enemies. I'm going to be running a Smedakavat in order to try and double my drop at the end and try and get double refined Thermia. I'm also running a double drop booster. I'm going to be using a Arcwing, which is Itzel. If you don't have it, her 2 allows you to blink. Actually, it's her 1 that allows you to blink through the map and kind of helps you speed up the process a little more. They have talked about maybe nerfing this. I don't know when it will happen or if it does happen. I hope that it stays. I wish they just increased the speed of the actual arc wings in order for people not to be so frustrated about how long it takes to travel the open worlds. So let's just jump right in and see uh, how it's done and how I go ahead and attack this. I'm going to try and make this as least confusing as I can. I'll do the best that I can to explain what's going on at every time during the mission. So what I'll be doing right now is heading over to the Temple of Prophets. While you're heading over there, see if you can spot a fracture. This is what they look like. They look like there's liquid coming out of the ground, yellow liquid. They only spawn there in this event, so make sure you farm while you can. You want to locate this big spider. Loves to walk around the Temple of Prophets non-stop. Chasing it, there's always this little blue smaller spiders that drop this coolant canisters. You're going to be using them in order to seal that fracture. Now, every canister gets filled up 25% for each fracture that it seals up, meaning that you have to place and defend 4 different fractures to fill up 1 canister. However, the fracture allows you to place 4 canisters within 30 seconds. If you do that at the end of the defense, it will combine all 4 canisters into 1 full one. Since every canister will fill up 25%, it will automatically merge all 4 of them into one full one, and you'll be done filling up 1 canister, which then yields a refined thermia. In a group mission, you can in a mission with a group of people, you can have everybody just come over and pick up 1 canister each, and you don't have to do this back and forth. It's a lot easier, but a lot of people don't really know what's going on, and they end up inserting the canisters before you can get all 4 over here. And then if you don't insert them all within those 30 seconds, it doesn't allow you to do any more, and therefore you end up with an unfilled canister, and then you'll have to do another fracture. And the reason you want to do all 4 at the same time is the first canister, you're gonna have to defend it for a the duration is measured in like 100. It's not in seconds because I think it takes like 2 seconds per tick. But the first canister will yield a defense duration of 100. The second to fourth will yield a plus 25. So you're gonna have to defend it for 175. But if you mess it up and don't insert all 4 canisters within that 30-second range, you're gonna have to defend another 100 on top of, let's say you inserted only 3 canisters, which would do 150. So you would end up doing a duration of 250 in order to fill up that one canister. So right now I inserted the first one and it yielded that first 100 duration. The second one there on the left underneath the map, now it's 125. With the third one it will be 150, and then the fourth one now it's 175. And you can see all 4 canisters there are placed in. Now I'm going to start using Nidus' second, which is larva, and now it's going to be pulling in enemies that start to spawn. And I'm not going to kill any enemy that gets pulled by larva. I'm going to be shooting those beacons in order for the aggression not to increase. I'm going to try and make this as peaceful as I can. And I think during this mission, because the aggression was low, or there wasn't any aggression when I started. There's not really a whole lot of enemies that are big and don't get pulled in by larva. But if there's an enemy that you can't pull in by larva, just shoot it, kill it, and it would allow for another enemy to spawn in its place. So what's going on here is I don't know if you can notice, but there's no more enemies coming anymore. So what's happening is the game has a limit to how many enemies it can have in the open world, and during solo, I believe that number is actually even lower than when you're playing with multiplayer. So it's a lot easier to do it with solo. It spawns a lot less enemies and allows you to control the spawn a lot more. So there is one problem here, is that the fracture itself will spawn spiders, and it will increase the number of spawns, even though the number of enemies that you're allowed to have has already been reached. And because it is procting radiation, the fracture itself will spawn radiation, so the enemies kind of kill themselves a little bit here and there. But for the most part, there's not really any more enemies coming in because the spawn is full. And I'll try and show you when the spiders spawn. But I'll be basically spamming the 2. And the reason I have no duration is because I want to be able to pull any enemies if more spawn or more come in as soon as my larva resets. And it doesn't really take that much energy, and I have plenty of energy pads, and I also have Sunuric in case I start having problems with energy. As you can see, I'm just basically moving them around, pulling them from one spot to another, allowing it to be a pretty easy game. I think they should be spawning some spiders here soon. And then once the spider starts spawning, you're gonna want to shoot the enemies and reduce that number of enemies that you have in that pile. You don't want to overload the game with enemies, just because it will crash it. And every time the fracture spawns more enemies, there's the spiders right there. So now that the spiders are there, I'm gonna shoot this pile of enemies and reduce the amount of enemies that are in the field, and this way I don't end up breaking the game or making it crash. Especially when if you try doing this with more players, the more players that there are, the higher the spawn number is, and the more it will reach the max amount that the game can handle. And you're gonna start seeing the game crash, or wanting to crash, if you don't kill some enemies. So even though I'm killing enemies, there's still not any more coming in. It's only been the ones that I have here. So it's been pretty easy up to then, and then there's really not a whole lot more to it. The Thermia will yield this refined Thermia at the end, and you're gonna see that there's only gonna be, I inserted 4 canisters, but there's only gonna be 1 that spawns at the end there. Again, keep shooting those beacons. And then the refined Thermia, you're gonna have to use it in order to kill that big spider that you saw at the start. There's a separate mission that you can play, and in order to start it, you're gonna have to unlock the back room of Fortuna, and there's a mission there that you can start in order but in order to start it, you're gonna have to use this refined Thermia. If you don't farm it, you won't be able to access that mission. I believe Hildren drops through this boss, but I'll try and make a different video. I'm pretty sure there might be already be one out there that basically talks about how to defeating that boss, or how to defeat that orb, the big spider that we stole these the little baby uh, canisters from. So that's pretty much it. Time's pretty much coming there to an end. It hasn't really been that difficult to keep the enemies under control. Just remember that if you keep killing them, they're gonna keep spawning. Now as the fracture seals up, I want you to notice that you don't get the reward for sealing it up almost right away. You're gonna actually have to walk up to that canister and collect it, which means that you can actually wait for your cavat to give you that double drop. You can maybe go and farm some ores or whatever not while you wait. But just remember, you won't be able to start another another fracture until you collect the canister. But if you're playing solo, it really doesn't matter. But if you're playing as a team, you're gonna want to just keep going, just because it probably will take longer waiting for your cavat to give you that double drop than it will be for you just to go ahead and do another fracture. But that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna go ahead and collect it. I get 2 for my double drop booster. And I think there's usually four different fractures per mission, but that should be pretty much it. You basically have to restart everything, go over to the big spider and kill the little baby ones that are chasing it, collect 4 different um, cells, and bring him over to the next fracture and insert him. And remember, you're gonna want to always do the 4 at the same time. Get 1 full canister out of each fracture, and you can see those there. There's 3 more there. That's pretty much it. I'll show you the mission that requires that refined thermia. And doing the mission itself, it doesn't have like an actual reward for doing the mission itself. You're gonna have to walk to this back room behind Fortuna, and you have to talk to little duck here. What is it, little duck? No, not little duck. Edico. And like as you can see, there's no actual reward for doing it. The reward you get it after you kill it. All the rewards that come from this mission come from killing it. It's like an enemy, and it drops the rewards. And I believe it drops all the parts for Hildren. So if you don't farm that Thermia, you're not going to be able to play that mission. And I believe 100% of the time, every time you play that mission, you will acquire one of these toroids, the last one, which yields 1200 standing for Voxelaris, which then you can trade for arcanes. And some of these arcanes actually go for a pretty good amount of plat. I think I've sold sets of 10 for 100 plus plat. So doing those missions will let you basically farm that standing a lot more, depending on your MR. I mean, the different video, but depending on the MR, is how many times you can trade those for standing. So these are all the drops from that mission, from killing it. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope there wasn't too much confusion what I was trying to explain. And I hope this works out and helps you out on your journey. All right, till next time. Have a good time.